So we are going to apply the Grogan test. There we go.
Now I face up, I hold up, I reach out to the truth. All the right, sitting the seat for the whole moment. Yeah, making the true life, only if you realize here where nobody's lies. See what is there. I face up, I hold up, I reach out to the truth. All the right, sitting the seat for the whole moment. To now break away. Well, then let me out. Can you let me out? Can you set me free from this that in the world safe in the last beat in the soul?
Apparently we're descended from the pygmy, who I guess was Manus, and we're destined to be a Dark Lord. Welcome back, everybody. I'm here once again with the out-of-season Queen of Christmas, Salad. And we are back in ancient Oolacile, because in addition to the extra slab and the extra souls I can get from the extra bosses, there are a few extra bits of lore and such that I can show you this time, which I didn't show you last time because I was being somewhat more ethical in my behavior. But this time we are a naughtier Salad, which means we can pick some fights that I did not previously. And of course we'll also see how the boss fights go in New Game Plus, where I can deal out more damage, but so can they. Boss fights like this here Sanctuary Garden, who I don't have too much trouble with this time. He did put quite a hurting on me with that hit, as well as the previous one I was about to mention. But the beloved Eagle Shield does have pretty good lightning defense as shields go. And I've got a little less rust on me with respect to the Thundercat here's melee attacks. And I'm also smarter and have the intelligence to use a catalyst with a better multiplier, so despite my near-death experience there, I'm putting out a lot of beat on the Guardian here. Doing okay with my rolls, too. Not quite tanking everything as much as I usually do. Actually getting a couple of appropriate dodges out. And other times, of course, not so much. But that's okay. We've got the stamina, we've got the stability. We can take it on the chin when we need to. Or on the shield, as the case may be. Oh! I don't know that I've ever seen him do that before. Usually when I'm behind him, he'll just whack me with the scorpion tail, but apparently he's also got a mule kick. Alright, this is getting a little tiresome, so let's put an end to it like so. And retrieve the only boss soul that I can't make anything with. But hey, I can always eat it later. And of course we get a respectable reward for the victory itself, which is going to put us over the threshold for the next level. And so we're going to keep getting smarter and keep improving our multiplier for the weapon buff, which means we'll keep upping our hurt capacity. Hi, Kalameet. I'll see you later. Alright. We're back at the end of the Royal Wood, and that means another tangle with good Sir Artie. He loves to party. I like the way the Power Within casting motion is basically giving yourself a heart punch. Anyway, I did lose once to Artorias, as you can see by the soul pile on the ground there, which I edited out, but second try actually it worked out this time, whereas I think it took me about a dozen tries on the first run through. I think my increased damage is certainly helping out, and I think I've also shaken some of the rust off. Just getting reacclimated to his pattern during the first playthrough. It's definitely helping me to not take quite so many hits here. And more importantly, knowing when it's relatively safe to hit him. Even though it's one of the toughest ones, I still think this is one of the most fun boss fights. No, you don't, sir. In previous playthroughs, not the most recent one that I did for this LP, but in previous playthroughs I usually counted on the Dusk Crown and Great Combustion in order to stop his power-ups, but I think I like the technique I've developed in this playthrough better, which is just running up and doing some two-handed R2 attacks. Seems a little more reliable. Overall, in this playthrough, I've made a lot less use of Great Combustion than I usually do. Usually a big fan of the melee range Pyromancy, but I ended up really not using it very much at all this time. I guess I'm just becoming more comfortable with my straight-up weapon fighting. Oh. Mistimed that one just a bit. And that. Unfortunately, he doesn't seem to be going completely banana farts with his OTGs this time. I will never forget that time in the previous playthrough where he knocked me down with the Abyss Juice and then did the triple somersault on my prone body. That was really one of the most... Oh my god, I can't believe I survived that. That was really one of the most ridiculous deaths I've ever encountered. That was a high-risk maneuver, Sir Artorias, but afraid it's not going to pay off for you this time. And once again, that should put us well beyond the level up threshold, so we will just, and I think that's a good message. Someone should have rated that by now. But never mind. We'll just head over to the Oolacile Township bonfire and, pop a little more intelligence. Say, that there is a damn fine coat you're wearing.
Oh, it's come to blows, has it? Fine, then. I've had enough of you anyway.
Of the two NPC fights I'll be picking in this update, this is the one I feel less bad about, because, for one, Chester's a total dick, and two, given an opportunity, he'll invade you anyway. Still, it's a little belligerent, I suppose. And here I'm just trying to bait him away from the cliff so I don't accidentally knock him over it. Want to bring this to a proper conclusion. Yeah, you may recall that Chester is a time traveler, like ourselves. That he was pulled into ancient Oolacile just like we were. And I have to wonder if he's ever visited the Kingdom of Figaro, because that's quite a crossbow repeater he has there.
You damn fool. Our marvelous Chester. What did you expect?
Well, I'll admit I wasn't expecting to be bled to death by a rose in the face, but... well, that's why you prepare for anything. Alright then, we'll just run back across the bridge because Chester is now aggressive and the fight will start straight away as soon as we get back. Also, I'm going to leave Kieran completely alone this time because I want to hang on to Artorias' soul this time, and she doesn't have any particularly interesting lore or an interesting fight attached to her, so we're not going to pick a fight with her. All that it really says on Kieran's armor is that the Lord's Blades are a group of all women in service of Lord Gwyn. So I guess that's interesting, but I just told you about it, so I don't have to show you the armor now.
You win, please. Oh, please. Have mercy.
Oh, a little late for that, Chet. And we get his outfit, which is a rather nice outfit, really. Let me reclaim my soul pile there, and we'll do a little modeling. There we are. Black leather long coat. Hat? Worn by Marvelous Chester, a man of mystery lost in the past. This exquisitely sewn aristocratic suit allows its wearer to move in silence, lending well to stealth. I'm not sure if it actually does silence you. I don't know that offhand. And these gloves have no distinguishing features, but are of extremely high quality. Aristocratic. I wonder if that means that Chester is some kind of royalty or some kind of big shot where he comes from. And these exquisitely sewn trousers are decorated with silver trinkets of varying sizes and have straps on the inner legs for carrying crossbow bolts. Stylish and functional. I gotta say, we are looking sharp. Cloak's a little ratty at the bottom, or the coat rather, but can't have everything, I suppose. What about that hat? A black top hat, worn by Marvelous Chester, a man of mystery lost in the past. The wearer of this top hat cracks a dubious, permanent grin. The curse of Chester. And yeah, it is a very nice top hat, but it does kind of make us look like a Joker victim, so I'm not so sure about that one. With our ever-serviceable thief mask, however, yeah, I think that's a pretty solid look. And at the entrance to the abyss, we've got enough souls for more brains. Moving on, it's time for the Hands of Fate once again. And this time I'm going a no-dog route. Yeah, I wanted to move quickly, so although it pained me a little, it was not on my agenda to rescue Sif this time, so we're taking on Manus single-handedly. And oddly enough, it ends up going a lot better for me. Once again, I think all my failures before kind of taught me a lesson or two. He's still certainly not an easy fight, but I don't have really bad trouble with him at any point, I don't think. Get a little low on health every now and then, but if I recall correctly, I didn't get into too serious trouble. See, that was something I remembered from my previous playthrough, with its many, many deaths to this guy, that when he does his big jump attack, your lock-on breaks immediately. as soon as he lands. So remembering that and remembering to reestablish my lock helped a lot. I think that was the moment right there where I was in the most trouble, where he managed to hit me with a couple of his black rain magic hits. But all in all, this goes shockingly smoothly. I was not entirely looking forward to this fight, and I, in fact, seriously considered cheesing him with a bow from outside the arena, but in the end, I figured we'll do this properly, so I did, and it kind of worked out. A little bit surprising, given that he can hit harder, but once again, I am in better condition to do damage myself, so I guess it kind of balances out in the end. After all, if you're doing more damage, the fight doesn't last as long, and there are fewer opportunities to screw up. Took a little of his big combo there, but fortunately only about half of it, which took off about half my health, so I don't know if that would have killed me outright if I had eaten the whole thing or not. Fortunately, it didn't happen, so it's all theoretical. That big palm strike, that seems like the best time to do damage to him, because he really recovers very slowly from that one. It's almost like his hand gets a little bit stuck in the ground, even though that doesn't happen visually. And both of my buffs are gone at this point, but so is he nearly. One more, maybe two at most, ought to do it. And that was all she wrote for the Hands of Fate. Nice hearty dose of humanity, as well as the fairly generous soul reward. And that means we should be leveling up again in the very near future. More brains, more! And that leaves us with one more proper boss fight to do, that being Black Dragon Kalameet. So, whereas last time I wore the Pyromancer clothing, this time I'm going with the gold-hemmed black set that we got from the Ceaseless Discharge arena, and such as is worn by the Daughters of Chaos, at least the ones that are still vaguely human-shaped, because it has even better fire resistance yet. And although a chunk of Kalameet's black flames do physical damage, there's still quite a bit of fire damage involved, and we want to resist that as fully as possible. Which is also why, once again, I am rocking my maxed out Black Knight Shield. To be honest, in contrast to Artorias and Manus, who went very well, I actually make a little bit of a dog's breakfast out of this fight. I do win it on the first attempt, but I think I actually did it rather more clumsily than the previous time around. I just take a lot of hits that I really don't need to, a number of them from his fire breath, which is very painful, and even though I'm coming into this fight with 20 Estus now, I end up using up most of it. Yeah, rolling through that horizontal fire breath of his is entirely possible, but I don't know why I keep trying to do it. If you can't avoid it, it's probably better to just block, because it's hard to roll through, and if you do not succeed, you're bound to get hurt quite a bit. Just feeling froggy, I suppose. I'm also taking more of those fire breaths on the shield than I should. The sweeping left to right ones are really not that hard to dodge generally if I would just make the effort. And I should also prioritize rolling away a bit more when he flies up and does the downward area of effect one, but I seem to have gotten a bit lazy. I also seem to have gotten a bit sat on. And finally, I seem to have gotten a bit forgetful about the fact that he always follows up that lunge of his with a sweeping fire breath. This is a pretty fun boss fight too, I suppose. Not quite as enjoyable as Artorias, but it just feels... it has a feeling of scale to it. He's quite a large opponent, he's a big freaky looking Cyclops dragon, and got a good range of attacks, and you're always in danger, and sometimes you're not quite sure what's coming next, like a tail chop I got hit with out of the blue there, but it's not quite like Manus, where he can just ruin you in half a second with his black magic if you're in the wrong place or don't see it coming. I really kind of hate the second stage of the Manus fight. Maybe it's me. People who are quicker with the silver pendant maybe have a better time with that, but my timing with that is terrible, and I feel like, at least with my style of play, there's a little bit too much luck involved in whether or not I get murdered with the black magic attacks. Might just be me. I would absolutely never claim to be the most skillful player at this. That is why I play such a shield tanky style. My roll timing is obviously less than brilliant, and my parry timing is even worse, which is why I don't even try. Whoosh! Well, also, I didn't get the tail cut here, but it doesn't have anything particularly interesting to say. Getting Kalameet's tail chopped off is extremely difficult if you don't have a second player. At least I think so. Maybe there are folks out there who can do it like falling off a log, but I don't know. For me, it's just very hard to stay behind him without getting murdered by stomps and tail. I remember the very first time I ever played through the DLC, I had a much tougher time with Kalameet. I think one thing that I just was not getting through my head early on was when he rears up in front of you. Like, it doesn't matter what he's going to do. Anything that he's going to rear up for, you want to get the hell out of the way. Because if it's the claw attack, you can probably block that, but that's not necessarily a good thing, because it'll really take down your stamina. If it's the fire breath, it's better to get out of the way, because you don't want to take that on your shield if you don't absolutely have to. And finally, if it's the telekinetic grab, then, yeah, you can't block that. And not only will it do a goodly amount of damage, but you will also be afflicted with the calamity status, and anything else that hits you is going to really, really hurt. I'm already down to 6 Estus, so yeah, I'm really kind of making an ugly fight out of this, but he is down most of the way. Even though my buffs are gone, we will be able to finish this up relatively soon. Wouldn't have been a terrible idea here to look for an opportunity to reapply my weapon buff, but I suppose I figured it was close enough already. Only a few more hits really needed here. See, that's what I should have been doing the whole fight, just rolling away and avoiding that whole AoE business, but again, I think I got a bit lazy. What? And with that, I am free to claim my slab and the other miscellaneous treasure down here in the Valley of Kalameet. And it'll be time for a level. We'll do some quick repairs, and then we'll bring the old smarts up to 40, which will make it worth using Logan's Catalyst. So we'll get a very good multiplier on the Crystal Magic Weapon. More damage, more fun. And now, Gough has kind of outlived his usefulness, and although he is a cool dude,
Stop it, I say.
he's an interesting sort of pseudo-boss fight. And his clothing has a bit of interesting information on it. So we will show him true human nature.
Choice.
I really kind of like that ground-sweeping back fist he has. Just looks cool the way he, like, leans way back as he swings his fist backwards. He's agile for such a big SOB. Gough is, I would characterize him as sort of a mid-boss type fight. He's certainly much tougher than your average enemy. Big splash! Much tougher than your average enemy, and he is unique. I do have to say, hats off to FromSoft for making him a unique character with a unique moveset and a unique fighting style, when they could have easily just made him a model swap of the giants from Sen's Fortress. But yeah, he's got that leaning back fist. He's got the 3-hit combo. He's got the big splash, and he also has a move that he often does to surprise you when he's got his back to you, but we'll see that in due course. And you probably noticed how much stamina I'm losing when he hits my shield, and how much health I just lost when he hit me proper. So, yeah. He hits like a ton of bricks. It's worth noting that Gough is, as he mentioned, blind. Well, possibly blind. We'll see more about that in a bit. Whoops. Oh, I really don't think it was necessary to splash my corpse. Anyway, as I was saying, he is blind, and when he's kind of spreading out his arms and reaching around him like that, that's an indication that he doesn't know where you are. So items that reduce your audibility, like the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring or the Hush spell, they will make it hard for him to pinpoint you unless you start making noise in other ways. Or, of course, he'll know where you are if you hit him. Yeah, I feel pretty bad about taking on old Gough. He's been a buddy, but then again, I suppose this will put an end to his existential worries about not knowing what good he is anymore with no more dragons to hunt. No, he lost me. Here I am. Oh, the big elbow. That's the move I was waiting for. That will wreck your shit. Oh yeah! Snap into it! Yeah, I suppose I'd be a little bitter toward humans too if I got taken out with a scythe to the crotch. but you deserve the respectful bow, Gough. And now we get to take a look at his equipment. Helm of Hawkeye Gough, one of Gwyn's 4 knights, received as a decoration of knightly honor. A helm crafted especially for the Honorable Hawkeye Gough, only the eye holes were packed with tree resin by those who dismissed Gough as a brutish giant. So, was he actually blind, or did he only think he'd gone blind because someone stuffed his eye holes with resin? That's kind of fucked up if someone pulled a prank on him and he's just been thinking he's blind all this time. As for the armor, it was donned by Gough since his days as a dragon slayer. The medallion, bequeathed by the Lord himself, and the dragonbone pauldrons are symbols of the highest honors. His gauntlets were received as a decoration of honor, crafted of similar material to the gauntlets worn by the Silver Knights. And the same go for the leggings. And now we are Mini Gough. Although this is decently heavy armor with decent protection, I am somewhat surprised to find I can still mid-roll. And here I'm not entirely sure what I want to do, so eventually I just settle on giving myself a bit more HP. Never hurts. And our next step is going to be to make sure we are at +2 in the Chaos Servants Covenant, because I really don't want to lose Oolacile this time. And I decide I'm going to go hard mode on Ceaseless Discharge here. But it doesn't quite work out for me for somewhat amusing reasons you'll see in a moment. Alright, now that I'm buffed up, how am I going to start the fight? I don't want to put the bow back on. Maybe I can melee him from this range. Nope. Alright, this time I decide I'm going to forego the whole Power Within thing, just stick with Crystal Magic Weapon, and I attuned Soul Spear, so that I can pop him with a magic attack and not have to worry about re-equipping my bow. And I am using Logan's Catalyst now with my 40 intelligence, so my magic is pretty powerful. And that, more than half my health right there, that was through my guard. I had my shield up, and I took that on the shield. It broke my guard and still knocked off half my health. So yeah, Ceaseless hits really fucking hard. However, he kinda goes easy on me here, it seems. All he does is keep using that double tentacle swing on me, which has a bit of an AoE effect. Like, even if it doesn't hit you directly, the ground tremor that it does will still cause a good bit of damage to you. But it's really a fairly easy attack to avoid nonetheless, and it's the only one he uses all battle. He also has a Fire Blast, which you have little choice but to take on the shield because of its tremendous range, and it hurts a lot. Usually does a good amount of damage even if you're using a shield as good as the Black Knight one, because it'll usually be strong enough to get through your guard, but he never used it. So that ended up being bizarrely easy, since the boss of the game doesn't even expect to fight, doesn't even expect you to have to fight straight up. Well, whatever. Alright, with a little consumable assistance, we're ready for yet another level. And this may seem a little odd, but I decide to take some strength this time. Reason being, even though it's not nearly as good as the dex scaling, I do get a little bit of extra damage from the poor strength scaling on the Great Scythe. Pause for a little bug hunt. And also, by building my strength, I may eventually have enough of it to use some better Great Shields if I want to. The Eagle Shield is an excellent Great Shield for low strength builds, but there are certainly better Great Shields like Havel's, if you have the strength and the equipment burden left over to use them. It's just usually not something I bother with on a first playthrough if I am running a dex-focused character like I have been with Salad. So there is the red-eyed Chaos Bug dropping the Sunlight Maggot. I'll just clear out the rest of them to be on the safe side. Also an Ore Pinata here. Alright, bug hunt complete. Hopefully that will keep Solaire alive. You'll see a soul pile here, which does in fact mean that I managed to die to the Fire Sage once, but in my defense that's because I was trying to hang back and shoot him with soul spears, which is not a way I'm used to playing. So, second try when I actually take him on with the scythe like I'm more accustomed to doing, it goes fine. But demons is but demons. Yeah, you can do the butt drop all day, friend. Don't mind in the least. Of course, I want to activate the shortcut outside the Fair Lady's room, and while I'm in the neighborhood, a little more consumable soul action. And we'll keep pumping that strength. Don't know if I'll ever get anywhere with it while I'm still on screen, but again, can't hurt, and we do get a little bit of extra damage out of it. And right about now is when I realize I never actually showed you the Moonlight Greatsword. So we'll do that now. This sword, one of the rare dragon weapons, came from the tale of Seath the Scaleless, the pale white dragon who betrayed his own. Seath is the grandfather of sorcery, and this sword is imbued with his magic, which shall be unleashed as a wave of moonlight. And here you can see it scales entirely on intelligence, so if you're a mage-type build but you still want to use a BFS, here's your opportunity. And now if we two-hand this thing, and do an R2, we shoot a horizontal blade of magic. One-handing it with the R2 shoots a vertical blade of magic. However, that greatly damages the sword's durability, so you can only do that a few times really before it breaks. Once again, it's time to praise. That was a particularly well synchronized one, if I do say so myself. get our buffs on, and time for some jolly cooperation. As usual, the Centipede Demon fight is just kind of a mess. I'm not very good at dealing with this guy's tells, and he really just kind of tends to get up in your face and just try to jump on your head a lot, so it's just a slugfest. But as long as your defense is good, if you're playing a block tanky character like I tend to do, then in the end, good enough. And Solaire does not tend to do a whole lot of damage output in this fight, but he draws the Centipede's attention from time to time, and that's all you really need if what you need to do is just the occasional Estus recovery or stamina regen. I tend to think this is one of the weaker boss fights in the game just because it's so damn awkward, but as always, your mileage may vary. Oh, also, in an early build of the game, this was actually the boss fight on top of the Undead Parish. But they decided putting a centipede on top of the church didn't make a whole lot of sense, and so they replaced him with the Bell Gargoyles. Also, man, Solaire can tank that lava like nobody's business. Alright, I left this bit in here because I have another embarrassing yet amusing death. Managed to kill myself with no enemies in sight. Alright, I do land myself back on the route here, but I forgot how low my health was and that I still had Power Within on. And so I dropped dead with the Sunny D halfway to my lips. Oh well, so close to the bonfire, it was certainly easy enough to recover my souls. And that's another point for strength. Alright then, I think that's about enough for one day. As always, it's been a pleasure joining you in New Game Plus Abridged. This is Un, signing off, and I'll see you very soon. Once again, my very deep appreciation to all of my generous patrons, including Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Charlie Dunst, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Johnny Millennium, Sanguine Games, Joseph Coco, Canis, Misha Van Doren, Greg Patterson, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., and Lolo de Puzzlo. We do have a new patron just joined up, and I will be adding your name to the list as soon as the month turns over, so I look forward to welcoming you then. Until then, thank you to everyone who has contributed, whether financially, or through the comments or subscriptions, or really just by coming along. I do appreciate it. Take care, and I'll catch you next time.